Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning, and what a show we've got lined up for you today. I'll be joined throughout the morning by Bros frontman turned solo superstar Matt Goss will be here. And that's not all, because we're welcoming cricketer turned commentator David Gower will be also in the house. Love my cricket. And we're heading to the beautiful Isle of Skye on the latest leg of my food adventures. And we've got another recipes from the fantastic Moor Hall's Mark Birchall. And don't miss this week's Little Masterclass, when I'll be teaching you everything you ever want to know about baked potatoes. But first, from the Michelin-starred Morstan Hall on the Norfolk coast, he wrote that bit, from a chef who's a true friend of the show. He definitely wrote that bit. It's the one and only Galton Blackiston. Welcome to the show, chef. Welcome to the house. What are you going to be cooking for us?
I'm doing a roast potato.
Oh, yeah?
It's
what, just one roast potato?
No,
it's a long
I'm going to do a dish based on a roast potato. I'm going to mess about of it. Right. But I've been to so many places recently, and they don't do a decent roast potato. All right. And so I want to show how to do a roast potato, and then I mess about of it.
There we go. But we're kicking things off today with a recipe for lamb. We're going to get onto the cakes in a minute, but I've got this beautiful little rump of lamb. I'm going to simply roast this, and we've got some gorgeous veg. This time of year, we've got some amazing veg. We've got peas, we've got broad beans, we've got French beans, we've got some lovely asparagus over here. You've got some broad beans that I need you to pod those, if that's all right.
What, now?
Yes, now, if you can do. Yeah, now.
These are good and all.
Yeah, these are nice broad beans, you see. So we're going to take a little bit of... This is just plain veg all in here. And I've got a beautiful rump of lamb. This is amazing to look out for, this sort of stuff. This gorgeous rump of lamb. It's a fantastic cut of meat, but we're just going to pop that into our pan, like that, and start to pan fry this with a nice little bit of salt over the top, some black pepper, and I'm going to get that colouring, first of all, with a little bit of butter into here as well, but that's going to go in here. Now, you can increase the flavour with this and put some aromats in there. I've got some beautiful garlic. I've got some rosemary, but I've also got two quite unusual ingredients in front of me over here. Now, also a friend of the show, you'll know we've got an amazing forager, Alysia Vasey. So she is on the riverbank somewhere in the wilds of West Yorkshire. I can see her. Whereabouts first of all, morning to you, Alysia.
Morning, Jim.
Good,
all right.
Good morning. Where in the world are you in Yorkshire, then? Where is this riverbank?
Right, OK, so we're in Rippenden, which is West Yorkshire. So this is the village that I grew up in, and I walked down this from school every day from 5 years old, you know. So my nana and my mum used to bring me down this way, and this is where we pick a lot of our stuff. So this is what you've got is a 2 Michelin star riverbank, because you've got one of my favourite chefs on today. Yeah,
you got Mark's on his way here as well at the moment. He's got a long way to drive as well, but... Tell me about this, because this is where you go foraging for this particular stuff for Mark as well. This is woodruff and sweet Sicily. I'm going to use this for my lamb as well, but tell me about this then. Tell me about this time of the year and what we can get.
Right, OK, so that's sweet woodruff that you're doing. So a lot of people will bake lamb in hay and a lot of different plants. And one of the things with sweet woodruff and hay, what they've got in common is they've got a compound called coumarin in it. So what it does, it gives you a vanilla and tonka bean flavour and a lot of sweetness. So it's really, really popular. So you just dry the sweet woodruff out under a hot lamp or sun-dry it preferably, and it releases this compound, and it's absolutely stunning. But it's really good as desserts, and it's really good in meat as well.
And is this what you've used for these... Is this what you use for these cakes then, this stuff?
Yes, what I've done is I've got a sweet woodruff sponge. What's he laughing at? Honest to God, right, yeah?
I've got to cut into this. Do you want...
I'm listening. Well, it was just the way he said it, this stuff. That was all.
Yeah, so we've got to cut these cakes. You've actually genuinely made these cakes, haven't you?
Who else is going to go to trouble of faffing around with all that? I tell you what, you get panic-stricken, you know, because I know that all my chefs are watching, so I've got to come up trumps. So you've got a sweet woodruff and lemon sponge. You've got homemade rhubarb and sweet Sicily filling in that. And then that mirror glaze, good grief, that was a nightmare, I tell you that. Technical stuff, James. I've got all the toys.
So you've on about this 2 Michelin star riverbank. Tell us about sweet woodruff then. Tell us about where you can get it, what people can see, the do's and don'ts. Off you go.
Right, OK. Sweet woodruff.
Yeah.
Looks like sticky buds. Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Looks like sticky buds in your garden. Are you listening?
I'm listening, yes. I'm listening. We call it multitasking. Right. We're having to do something at the same time, but go on.
All right, OK. So, see, sweet woodruff, it looks like sticky buds in your gardens, that stuff that wraps around your legs, also known as cleavers. Right? Grows on the riverbank. It's got like a 5-star. Well, you can see what it looks like there because you got it in front of you.
Yeah.
What it does, it's really clever. It's Old English, sweet. It sweet. It grows in the wood. It grows in the rough. And what it does is it doesn't want sunlight on it. So it grows when the shade of the canopy opens up on the tree. It grows up underneath it so that the sun doesn't release its compounds. So it's really clever stuff. And animals don't eat it because it's also the basis of warfarin as well.
You're just taking a mouthful of it.
It is sweet. I mean, you said animals don't eat it, but it's all right for humans.
Right, what? It's all right. It's, right, there's a safe dosage, and that is 10 grams per litre per kilo.
Right, OK. It's safe then. Right? That's all right. That's all right. It's safe.
And you're all right. You're safe. But that's, you dry it out. So if you pick about 3 kilos, it makes 1 kilo. It's very, very dry stuff. It's very lightweight, so you'll be absolutely fine.
What happens if you want to make an ice cream with it? Would you have to dry it out then?
Yeah, always dry it out. You can't, as it stands now, the compounds are still in the leaves. So what you have to do is you have to put it under heat. Either your hot lamps on the pass, or you have to put it in the oven. Just dry it out on about 30, 40 degrees. And you could do 2 things. You can either put it in a bag and infuse your cream or your milk, or you can just bung it in. Up to you.
Cool. And is it always on riverbanks? Is that where you get it from?
No, it's easiest to find in a riverbank because traipsing around woods, right, when they're like 1,000 acres, it's a bit tricky. You'll find your spot. It's quite elusive, actually. Sometimes you'll find it and there's lots of it, but a lot of my chefs, they've never been able to find it, which is why I'm so popular.
So we got the woodruff. Tell us about the sweet Sicily then. Tell us about that.
Oh, this is fantastic stuff. I've just picked some here fresh. Mine's a lot better than yours. Yeah. Anyway, so this used to be a sugar substitute. So back in the day when they didn't have cane sugar or, like granulated sugar, they used to use this stuff and put it in like raspberry crumbles and gooseberries and it'd take the edge off. So if you just eat it raw, right, it's very, very sweet. So it's also a diabetic substitute. So on the end of here, when we go for our pub lunch later on, right, there's a pub there and it goes back to 1300s. And one of the first inhabitants was a woman called Sicily. So people used to be named after the places where they lived, like Violet, Rose. This one happened to be Sicily because this entire riverbank's covered with sweet Sicily. So
also you want to talk about dock leaves. Tell me about dock leaves.
OK, you can actually, right, those are like really good raw. So sometimes you get really bitter plants, right, and not everybody's that keen. But this is something that's not bitter. I don't know why he's pulling faces. Right, these are not bitter.
It's the stuff that you put on stinger nettle when you get stung by a stinger nettle. You rub a dock leaf on it, don't you?
Yeah, it's because it's got antihistamines in. Maybe you should have one after eating sweet woodruff. But truthfully, right, they do have antihistamine properties. I remember falling in a patch of nettles, and then my mum and my nana came out, and there was spat all over me, and put all these dock leaves on, because that's what you used to do back in the day, didn't you?
Hold on a minute. You fell in a load of nettles, and your mum and your gran spat all over you.
Yeah. Well, what it was, do you remember those insects called bloodsuckers?
Right. Yeah.
Little flying red one.
Yeah.
Right, soldier beetles or something. Well, we were that frightened of it. Me and my brother were stood on this well, and we'd rather jump into a big patch of nettles than got caught by the bloodsucker.
Right.
And then, of course, we screamed house down.
Yeah.
Went back up, and my mum and my nan come running out, saw we were covered in nettles. And I just remember all the dock leaves had just been spat on for about half an hour when they rubbed all the dock leaves into us. Because that's what you do in Yorkshire when you're kids.
I love doing these. They're so random. That's what I love about them. So random. So these are in season till when?
Can't see what you got up for.
I'm going to go
for
bracelet.
Oh, sweet Sicily.
Yeah, when is this in season till?
So you've got... Right, so you've got two. Right, so Sweet Sicily is one of those cut and come again. So if you take it when it's about a foot high and you cut it down, it'll start growing back immediately. You just don't dig them up. So it'll cut and come again. So you can kind of like rotate your riverbank all year, so it just keeps coming round. It's very difficult to get them going in your garden. Some people have more success than others. They're a bit tricky. So just leave them where they are. But you can get this right up until the first frost. So sometimes you can go through to December, and then in March again, it'll get going again. So it's all year round, really. Right now, some of it will be coming into flower. The flowers are really nice. But then in October, it'll come back again, and that'll come into flower as well. So you can get this. The only thing you've got to really, really know, because it's part of the carrot family, it's got a doppelganger, which is hemlock. Hemlock is hugely poisonous, and it's just... The difference is one shade darker in green, looks exactly the same. What I would say is if you're not sure, go like that on your tongue. You're not going to die if it's hemlock. You will if you eat it. And if you can taste the aniseed, you're good to go. Or
if you've got Galton, you can just supply him some and then give it 10 minutes and wait and see what happens. Because he's been munching on it for the last 10 minutes. Anyway, look, hopefully I've done this justice. Look at that lamb. That's cooked in woodruff, a little bit of Sweet Sicily. Do I get your approval, your 2 Michelin star riverbank approval from here? Alysia, does that get your approval?
Yeah, I'd eat it. I'd give it a go.
It perfectly complements your cake. So thank you for being a part of this. Thank you very much. And I'll see you again when we come back from the new series.
Yay. See you later.
Right, there you have it. So we got Alysia Vasey, everybody. Deserves a round of applause. Alysia, you're a legend. I'll see you soon. Take care.
You forgot the broad beans.
No, I got plenty of broad beans. I just had them hidden. I was giving you something to do for 10 minutes. Oh. This is for my tea tonight. Thank you very much, Galton. So there you have roast rump lamb with Sweet Sicily and woodruff. Just give it 10 minutes to see whether it's OK to eat. Bon appetit, chefy.
Right. Yeah. Looking forward to this.
Now, that is safe to eat.
It has made my tongue go a bit funny, I must admit.
Well, get that down, you'll be all right.
It looks amazing. You have cooked this beautifully. Oh, looking forward to it. You forget how good rump of lamb is. And that is stunning lamb.
Yeah, it's lovely. Really nice lamb. Nicely cooked veg. Easy as that. Don't forget to go foraging. Easy as that. Now, Galton will be cooking for us a little bit later on, and the one and only Matt Goss will be here very shortly. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, I'll be celebrating some fantastic Scottish ingredients on a food adventure to the Isle of Skye. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, there's a masterclass in potatoes coming right up, and I'll be joined in the house by my guest, Matt Goss, very shortly. But before that, I thought I'd take a look at some of the cooking you've been doing at home, and you guys have been so busy. First up, we got a video from Anne Blythe, who wanted to say thank you for me showing her how to make a proper red wine jus or sauce. It looks proper there. Lovely glazed over the top of the steak. I'm more interested in the chips, to be honest with you. They look pretty good. Well done there, Anne. A good job there. And then remember, if you're making a sauce like that, it freezes brilliantly. Put whatever you've got left in an ice cube tray, and you've got it for next time. Whenever you want it, pop the ice cubes out. Done. There you go. Just don't put them in your gin tonic. Next, we've got a photograph from John Wathy, who's treated his daughters to a recipe for my deep-fried buttermilk chicken. And finally, top marks this week goes to Lorraine Brown, who managed to recreate that dessert I made on the show a while back. Now, this has become a classic in the restaurant that I've got as well. She said it wasn't easy, but finally she cracked it. That whole thing, the ice cream underneath, is all edible. Look at that. It's then coated in a little bit of cocoa butter, a little bit of white chocolate, and then sprayed, and that's served with a little tart tan. There you go. Hats off for a great effort there, Lorraine, and well done. Now, do keep sending your pictures and videos coming in. We'd love to see what you've been inspired to cook at home. Right, it's time to take a look back at one of my favourite food adventures. This week, me and Chef Tony Singh are continuing our gastronomic adventures around the Isles of Skye, a beautiful part of the world, and we're making the most of some of the delicious local produce. Enjoy this one. So I thought with this dish, we'd do a really simple sort of variant of surf and turf. I've got amazing beef that I got from that wonderful farm shop. I've got some beautiful lobsters, and I've got some haggis. And I'm going to do this with haggis butter and cook it really simple. So first thing we go is going to put our steak on. Now, this beautiful piece of beef here, I've got some fillet of beef. You still get an element of fat on fillet of beef as well. If it's too heavily trimmed, I think you lose a lot of the flavour. So we season that up, salt and pepper, a little bit of oil. I'm just going to cook this on the barbecue quite simply for a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, we'll turn our attention to our haggis butter. I've got some haggis over here. I've got a bit of shallot, touch of parsley, 2 packs of butter. So the first thing we want to do is grab our shallot. This doesn't take very long to cook, so make sure the shallots are nice and finely chopped. And then with our butter, we just take our shallots straight in there, chop parsley. You can just roughly chop this one, really. Chop parsley in there. And then the haggis. You happy with that, wee man?
It's good, eh?
Just close your legs for a minute, will you?
Shouldn't be looking.
Thanks. Take your haggis and open it all up. Now, you don't need to add any seasoning to this whatsoever. All we're going to do is just mix this with our hands. Like that. And then keep an eye on your steaks. So you see your steaks cooking away nicely. Next up, we want a pan. And you need some seaweed, fresh seaweed. Because I'm going to use this to create lovely moisture to cook our lobster. So you just take a little bit of that. And then you grab your lobsters, which I've just dispatched nicely, and pop these all in. And the reason why I'm just popping them shell side up, you just want to crush the claws as well, because we want the shells to hold in all this nice butter. See, look at that. What a lovely thing. Gorgeous. And then taking your butter, and don't skimp on it. That's the thing with this dish. You want to put plenty on. It's roughly 1 part lobster, 1 part butter. You can take a little bit of parsley if you want and go in amongst it. And then what we need is the freshest seawater you can find. Trust me, the water here is really impressive. But look, fresh seawater. This is a classic way of cooking food like this because you actually steam it as well. And our steak is ready. Look at those. Mmm. We'll lift this off. But then just leave that to one side. And then, before we do anything with this, you take a stock cube, a beef stock cube, and you just sprinkle it over the top as a little seasoning, like that. You then take a little knob of butter and just put it on each one. We just leave that to melt down while we cook our lobster. And for that, you just take tin foil and you cover it over. Then we take the entire lot, pop it on the heat, and this wants to cook for about 10 minutes. That is going to be proper nice. Cheers, fella.
Cheers.
When you cook it like this, you're actually steaming them as well, so they take a little bit longer. So bear that in mind. Just lift it off. Take our tin foil off. There you go. And then you can take these gorgeous langoustine and stick those on it as well. You happy with that, boss?
That's looking fantastic. No deer, though.
To be honest, you haven't even been looking.
Oh, my God, with this vista.
Trust me, your vista is better than my vista from where I'm stood.
You keep looking.
Back to the food. This is going to take about 5 minutes just to finish it off. So we'll take our steak. Oh, bit of that. But this is where it's at. You just take a few pieces of your steak. Bit of lemon. Surf and turf will never be the same again with haggis butter. Hungry?
Oh, aye.
Better make 2 portions then, aren't you, really? It's an amazing place like that. It is, and the food is spectacular. The wildlife and the scenery is incredible. If you ever get the chance, jump on it. It's absolutely brilliant. Right, Chef Galton Blackiston will be cooking for us a little bit later, and we've got a recipe in store from the very talented 2-star Michelin chef, Mark Birchall. But join me again after the break, where I'll be serving out a dish of blackened cod for my guest, Matt Goss. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, coming up, we've got a crash course in potatoes in this week's masterclass, and Chef Galton Blackiston will be firing up these very stoves shortly. But first, I'm here with a man who took the British music scene by storm in the 80s before moving to America and conquering the entire length of the Las Vegas Strip. It's Mr. Matt Goss. Welcome to the house. Welcome. Cheers, anyway. Cheers. Good to see you. Looking very dapper, I have to say.
As are you, sir.
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah, that's very, very dapper. But now, I know you love your food. So I'm going to do one of your favourite dishes, because you sent a list of all the places where, I mean, you've travelled all over the place, travelled all over the world, even now that you're doing it as well. Blackened cod, this iconic dish that's become synonymous with Nobu, of course, but this is a version of it. So we're going to take our lovely piece of cod like this, which I'm marinated, and I'm basically going to pop this under the grill. Now, I need to get this under the grill first.
Quite a lot of it as well.
Yeah, and is that enough?
Yes, enough, yeah.
That's enough?
For me, yeah, for me.
That's enough, because you usually get about 80 quid for one portion, don't you? A little tiny bit. We're going to take this and pop it under the grill. The key to this is put it under the grill that's not too high, because it's going to burn. It will blacken anyway, because of the amount of sugar content in there, which I'm going to go through now before we chat to you about all things that you're up to. So we're going to run through this ingredients. So this is the ingredients for the cod bit, the marinade bit. I've got sugar. I've got miso paste, which is the white miso paste that you need. And then you need 2 ingredients, liquid ingredients. You need sake and you need mirin. Now, particularly with the mirin and the sugar, mirin contains about 50% sugar. Vary between 30 and 50% sugar. It's like a sugar syrup with rice infused and everything else. Got yeast and that kind of stuff in there as well, whereas this is brewed, of course, the sake. But everything on here can burn quite badly. So what you want to do, first of all, is start with the liquid. So equal quantities of the mirin and the sake, that go in here, like that. Good quality ingredients, there we go. And then we add our sugar, and then we're going to add our miso paste. And then we keep whisking and keep our eye on it, because we're going to cook this very, very quickly, but then reduce it all down when it starts to thicken and you get that amazing sort of sauce with it.
Quickly realising why I love this dish.
Sorry?
I'm quickly realising why I love this dish. It's got sake and sugar, yeah?
It's the sake and the sugar, that's the key to it. But you've got this wonderful sweetness with it as well, like that. But I'm surprised you get time to cook doing what you've been doing, because, well, first of all, let's go back into the days that you and your brother, because you're from a family of sort of musical people. Auntie, mum, dad, all that sort of stuff. Was that a natural thing for you to go into?
My dad's CID murder squad for 37 years.
But they all loved the music.
He had his own band. My mum was in his band. My Aunt Sally sang. She actually pretty much taught me how to sing. All the right records, Stevie Wonder, all the way through to Steve Perry, Mel Torme, Sinatra. But it's... and then my mum had a beautiful voice. So, yeah, I was in my first band when I was 12. And we basically... our mate's dad had a load of instruments, so we used all of his instruments because we couldn't afford our own instruments. And then it went on from there. We had loads and loads of dodgy names, one of them being Caviar. We didn't know what caviar was. We just knew that it was very expensive. Yeah. And we found out it was fish eggs. Right. It was not a very good idea for a band called Caviar. And then... What
did you naturally go to? Did you naturally go to the singing? Because usually as musicians you pick up one thing and you go, the guitar's my thing, the piano's your thing. Did you naturally pick up an instrument and go, this is what I feel at one with? Or was it the voice? What was it that excited you about being in the band?
Well, I actually did a production of Cabaret, and I had the lead role as MC, Joel Grey's part, and as the MC, and I sang in that production of Cabaret. And people were saying, oh, I love your voice, and I didn't quite understand even what that meant. But my brother was holding an audition for a band, and I was the only person that turned up. So by default, I got the gig. That's where it all started, really.
But back then, I mean, talk about this is the marinade bit. So you just warm this up a little bit, not have it too hot, and then what you can do is then take your cod, and then this then sits into it. I've got line caught cod over here, and you've got this amazing fish. It's ethically correct, morally correct as well, but You've got a beautiful bit of cod over here. Now, the blackened cod that you're so familiar with, that would have it's a different type of cod. You have this really dark black skin on it as well. This is slightly different. Quite difficult to get hold of, but you've got this beautiful cod on here. But I'm intrigued. You've talked about sort of timing, you know, back in the 80s. I mean, what a timing to be popular in terms of music.
Right,
because, I mean, it was incredible. I mean, if you're going to pick your timing, it's a bit like the 60s, wasn't it, really? I mean, the 80s for musicians, I mean, that must have been incredible.
It's just very prolific, you know, like every song. You never quite knew what was coming next in the 80s. You know, there was no one, like now it can be somewhat linear at times, production-wise.
It was almost anything went, though, do you think? A bit like the 60s. We're getting talking about the 60s. It was that kind of era, whereas people embraced all different types of music.
Yeah, I think that it was just very prolific. I think that, you know, everything from the Finding Cannibals to, you know, then Live Aid came out and U2 and there's some great pop bands and it was great to be part of that, you know, big melting pot. It wasn't very elitist. It was just we all kind of appreciated each other. I remember I hung out with the Edge from U2 and we went water skiing and went into a club together. It was much more inclusive. It was just more fun to me. It was very rock and roll in everything you'd want it to be. You know, Bros Mania was an actual thing, and
I mean, people are not going to realise this because they're a certain age, but I remember it because I'm of that age. It was insane for you, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean,
insane.
Yeah, we couldn't go anywhere. I mean, in many ways, the people that follow me still have that rebellious kind of energy. You know, they bunk off work. They used to bunk off school, now they're bunking off of work. But I think it's meant to be that way. You're meant to have... It's very connective now. But it's a sensibility, but it's also this journey that I've been on. It's been 3.5 decades, so...
But as well as that, you then go through the 80s and doing what you're doing. Right. Then to do that and go to America and hit probably the biggest strip of them all, which is Vegas. What was that like for you? I mean, nerve-wracking? I mean, is there a sense of, I can do this? I mean, it still must have been trepidation for you because, you know, Vegas is pretty iconic. And to have a residency like you had, which was
11 years.
11 years?
Yeah. It was, to be at Caesar's Palace as well, arguably, in my mind, the most famous casino on the planet. And my mates Gary and Jason and just, you know, that ran the joint. And it was an incredible experience walking into that venue for the first time and seeing Celine and Jerry Seinfeld and Elton John and you're up there. And
it's really weird you say that because I remember coming to Vegas and you weren't on that night because you were doing, what's it, 4 days a week?
4 daes, yeah.
4 days a week. I remember the time when I was in Vegas, you weren't on, and I remember coming to find out where you were playing. It was quite a cool. It's cool.
Yeah. It was just again, like, you know, Sinatra's been there, Muhammad Ali's been there. It's to be at Caesar's Palace and actually know that's where your musical home is. And it ended up, I thought I was gonna be there a year, ended up being 11 years. And when COVID hit, I just kind of felt that it was time, you know, I was feeling it physically in a way that I don't think was actually helping me as an entertainer. But it definitely, I've learned more in Vegas than any other place on earth.
Well, look, I'm just going to recap what we've got here. We've got our cod, which is...
I know, finding it hard to focus on the food.
Just going over the top. The sauce, you can see, has reduced this down. This is the sugar that's gone in there. You can see the colour from it when I put the cod into there. And then the colour of it now as you start to reduce it down. You've got to be really careful as you reduce it down because it will stick and it will burn. But as you reduce it down, it intensifies everything. And I'm just going to pop this cod in for about another minute. But now, of course, now you're on your own. You've got your own freedom to do whatever. Tell us about the new album, and I know you're hugely passionate about this, but tell us about the new album.
Yeah, I mean, I just knew that if I wanted to get out and, you know, quite frankly, get out of my own way and my own grief that I've been going through, the loss of my mother and sister for many years, I just steamed through with work.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, I became very connected to mental health and people that were not Goss fans. I wanted to know how they were, and I would go live on Instagram. And it was that they let me know that they wanted a commercial record. So 3 o'clock in the morning, my piano.
Didn't you sit there and go, if this works, it's going to work. If it doesn't work, that's it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, exactly right. I mean, I just was at a point where I wrote this song. I felt very dismantled. I wrote a song called Shipwreck. You know, the imagery of a shipwreck being dismantled by the tide underwater. called up Babyface, the legendary Babyface, and he said, "I love it. Let's record it," and that was the catalyst to the album. And
well, we're going to see the proof of the pudding now, but have a listen to this. Still got it, haven't you?
Well, I'm trying.
Still got it. Still got it. Still got it.
A bit more black cod and I'll be...
well, we're going to serve this now because we're going to chat. You're going to stick around. We'll talk more about the album, more about everything you're doing, and more about the tour, and people can see you all around the world as well. But look, we've got this blackened cod. This is what happens with the sauce. Look, you get this amazing colour from it. Keep your eye on it, because like I said, it thickens like that. And then you can take the blackened cod. There, we've got a nice little piece like that.
Oh, my God.
And then we lift that. Put that one on it. We'll just put that on top of the asparagus. And then, of course, you've got this. This is super, super rich. So you only want like a tablespoon of it that you have with it, but you take a nice little dollop of the sauce with it.
Come on, you're having a laugh now.
Eh?
Come on.
That's all right, mate. And then, of course, a little Pelusia watercress, just for a little garnish. But the idea of this, I mean, it's an iconic dish that I've just done it with a little bit of watercress.
You should do this. You should do this for a living.
Well, yeah, trust me, I'm a better cook than I am a musician, but I give it a go. That's all I do. I give it a go. But there you have it. My version of a blackened cod in music. Done. There we go. Dive in. And there's another 2 there for you, queued up, ready. Don't worry, I know you got your eye on it.
I'm taking those. I literally said that I'm going to take a moment. He said, yeah.
But just to show you what the texture's like inside, so when you cut it, this is what it's that kind of. It just breaks apart like that. You get this amazing flaky texture.
Is it okay?
Sweet.
Is it okay if I ignore you for like 5 minutes?
And have it with the sauce. Have it with the little sauce that goes with it. Yeah, dip it in that sauce as well.
I mean,
it's great, isn't it?
It's my happy dance.
Happy with that? Good. We're going to stick around. We're going to cook for you a little bit later. Chicken and tagliatelle, but you've got 3 of those to eat as well.
No, and they'll be gone.
Right, we're making, like I said, chicken tagliatelle at the end of the show. And also, I'll be cooking for cricket legend David Gower. Will be dropping around the house very shortly, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, Chef Galton Blackiston will be taking over the very kitchen we're stood in now. It's going to be carnage. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, there's still loads more to come from my guest, Matt Goss, a little bit later. And I'll be making a haddock rarebit for David Gower very shortly. But first, I'm here with a chef whose restaurant, fish and chip shop, have made him the king of chroma, apparently. That's where he is. He's a good mate of the show. Gowan Blackiston!
Lovely to be here.
Now, Matt, you're here. So you've got eagle-eyed, you've got commie chefs waiting.
Yeah.
We're poised.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot going
Chef,
on.
there's a lot going on here. What are you going to be making?
I'm going to do a good roast potato.
Right.
I'm going to mess about with it. I'm going to add some beautiful ox cheek.
Yeah.
Which I'm just going to seal off in a pan.
So basically, the roast potato is just a roast potato with the ox cheek.
No. I'm going to. Well, you'll see in a minute.
Well, it says here, you're doing a braised beef cheek.
Yeah.
With Bordelais sauce.
Yeah.
Norfolk asparagus.
Yeah.
And a roast potato.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's how I describe it, but it's a little bit more than that.
Sounds
so
amazing.
get your ox cheeks into a pan.
Yeah.
Season them well and get them well coloured.
Yeah.
Now, you need to cook these for a long time, as you know. It's beautiful meat. I love it.
So
It's
you're going to
one of
start
the
off by browning it first of all?
Yeah, brown it first of all. Have a mirepoix of vegetables to go into that pan when I've finished browning.
Yeah.
You two, if you don't mind. Maybe the Yorkshireman can do the carrots. They're a bit limp. All right. Can you peel that? And the Lancastrian can do the asparagus.
You've got the asparagus to do.
Just
What do you want
nicely.
doing with the asparagus?
Just how you would do, Chef. Surprise me.
Surprise you. Okay.
What, do you want them into a flour? What do you want?
How do you want to do them?
I'll just turn it down.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, fair enough.
Perfect.
So I'm just peeling the carrots then?
Yeah, lovely, like that. So once you get a colour on these, take them out. So, and then put your veg in.
Do you want all this asparagus doing, Galton?
Yeah, you
All
are
of it?
doing, yeah. Come on, please.
You ever had a 2-star Michelin
I
pudding?
am, I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. So you've got a colour on them, and you've seasoned them. Now into the hot pan, add your mirepoix veg.
Yep.
Then, whilst that's in there, I'm going to talk about these.
Right.
These are a Norfolk potato called Fontaine.
Yeah.
Right? And I do know a little bit about potatoes. Through having a chip shop at various times of the year, the starches and sugars in potatoes vary.
Yeah.
We're now coming to the time we're getting new crop potatoes, which are brilliant.
Yeah.
But whilst you're using old crop, these Fontaine potatoes are just fantastic.
Yeah.
They're ideal for chips and they're ideal for doing a really good roast potato. So peel them, like so, get them into a pan.
So these are the ultimate roast potatoes that you're doing?
Well, they're all right.
Right.
I'm not going to be taken by that one, by you saying that. And then, because I know what will happen, when you taste it, you say, well, that's bang average. Right, so these are... Anyway, so you could use Maris Piper, you could use King Edward's, they're more well-known. Desiree, any of them, but I like these Fontaine.
OK.
All right?
We're going to go back, and we're talking about Norfolk anyway, but when you first started cooking, were you the other side of the country when you started?
Yeah, in the Lake District.
Your Lake District?
Yeah. Yeah, my overriding memories of the Lake District, cagoules and slate grey houses.
Definitely wasn't dry up there, was it?
No, but I quite liked the Lake District, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful.
Amazing.
But it's totally contrasting. So put the beef cheeks back in with the veg, red wine, cover it with stock, good beef stock. You could use chicken if you wanted to, if you ain't got it, but ideally a beef stock. So it's like that. Get it into the oven, if I can. I'm going to multitask here because I've got my little tray with some
You're doing all right,
fats in.
Gold. I thought you were going to be stressing when I first got the idea. Of
Shut up and let me concentrate.
But I think you're doing all right. You've thought of everything.
Right, so these have been parboiled.
Right. These are what potatoes? These
are the Fontaine potatoes,
right, okay.
which have been cooked like that, and then parboiled.
Yeah.
OK? They're almost at the stage where you've cooked them too much and they're going to fall apart. So into hot fat. So,
what is this? Duck fat? What is
duck
this?
fat. It could be goose fat. It could be dripping. It could be lard. I have been known
you sort
to...
of frying them?
Yeah.
Right, OK.
To start off with. Is that not what you do?
No, not really. But
isn't it?
So what you do?
Would you not do that?
Would you that?
Well, maybe a little bit less than that, maybe, but...
A lot of oil there, Gold.
There's quite a lot of fat in there, isn't it?
It's,
No, we'll cook... Well, they'll be all right.
OK, that's fine.
What temperature on that?
Huh?
What temperature is it?
Well, about 200 degrees, I would say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Next stage is, again, to chop a shallot. Nice sharp knife you got here, James.
Yeah, you're getting less ingredients, Galton. You're doing all right.
I am doing all right.
Yeah. So tell everybody who haven't been able to know about Morstan, because it is pretty special.
It is special.
I know I take the mick out of it, but Morstan is pretty special.
It is. It's one little tiny coastal road heads along the coast to Morstan. But yeah, it's a labour of love. This business, you know that only too well.
You built that iconic place, haven't you? Really, it's just.
Yeah,
it's
a
continual
private house
maintenance.
beforehand, so,
but it has been a labour of love. It is a stamp. It is your stamp on it. You know?
Yeah, it's your life.
Yeah.
It's your life, and if it isn't a labour of love, it's just not going to work, is it?
Yeah.
So shallots or onions, or red onions, whatever you want. Yeah. Bacon, smoked. I prefer smoked bacon. You could use unsmoked beef jus, and then finally chop up some marrow bone
Yeah.
Again, this is optional.
Yeah.
And just add it if you want to, OK?
But this is the classic combination of the shallots, the bacon and the marrow. This is your classic Bordelais sauce. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. OK, so that goes in there.
Yeah.
Like so.
Yeah.
And then, what am I doing now? Oh, yeah, the potatoes. You need a serrated edge knife. And this is where I say I'll start messing about.
Right.
OK. So...
What are you doing now? What do you do?
The pan, like so. You'll be doing this, I can tell. Scoop out this flesh.
Right.
Normally this is done when it's piping hot.
I've never done this with a roast potato.
You've never done this.
Can you?
No. See? Every day's a school day.
Exactly.
Onions all right? Or...
Yeah, that is fierce, that.
Yeah.
This is my beef stew, and this is, as you all say, and you both know, that's the make or break of your dishes, is the quality of your sauces, don't you think?
Yeah, good stocks.
That looks good, doesn't it?
Make or break a sauce. Oh, amazing. Look at that. It's a shine on that.
Thank you.
Did you make that, or...?
Yes. Why do you always question as to whether I'm doing anything? Do you think I go to work and do nothing?
The people that work here made it.
I'm not answering. Right.
Right.
Anyway,
Potatoes, the best roast potatoes in the world. Off you go then. Go
yeah,
on.
I'm going. Don't rush me, please. I'll do one more because you both want a plate of it, don't you?
Well...
Yeah. Right, they're going to go back into the oven a bit.
Right. So that's just the skins.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the shell of the potato.
Shell of the potato.
Then we'll push this through. Through a fine sieve. I do need another little pan, you know.
Ready?
Yeah.
For what?
To warm the milk, butter and...
You've got two pans at the end.
Yeah, but they're dirty.
But the end pans, the one with the gold...
No, they're too big. You aren't going to stitch me up like that. Here we go. I wish I'd never asked this now. All right. Oh, all right, all right.
There you go.
Chef, thank you, Chef.
Is it all right?
Yeah.
You know, when you started off this dish, you mentioned just that this is the world's most expensive roast potato.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. It's
There's
you.
an awful lot of pans that you're using.
Yeah. Right.
Go on then.
So, butter into there.
Yeah.
Touch of cream,
Yeah. Yeah.
like so.
Milk and cream for this one.
Yeah, yeah.
Milk and cream's a good
Yeah.
combination, yeah. Yeah.
Get that in.
Yeah.
It's a great looking asparagus, Chef. Great looking asparagus. Thank you. Bit of salt on there, bit
Yeah.
of pepper. Bring that to the boil.
Yeah.
Pour it on.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Meanwhile, the mashed potato. You got a whisk.
Yeah.
Perfect. This is making me smile because I think this is going to be all right, you know. This is all right, look.
Yeah. It's good, that.
It's good.
Yeah.
You'd put a bit more butter in there, would you?
Would do, probably. Yeah.
And then into a piping bag.
Yeah. We're still on about the roast potato now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you think it was going to be?
I'm just worried if you got 300 for lunch, you might struggle doing this.
Listen, but you can do this all in advance. You don't
Yeah,
have to
but
do it so much last
If you're quite
minute.
busy for lunch, it's quite a lot of work for four potatoes.
I'll tell you, wait till you taste it. I think you'll quite like it. That's all I will say.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Then that can go back on there.
Yeah.
Potatoes can come out.
This is a great recipe, actually, got. It's a little insight of how your brain works.
What, scattered?
Yeah, this.
Shut up! This is one of my pet hates. I wonder if it's one of your pet hates. In the kitchen, when they take the ends off these piping bags, you find them on the floor everywhere.
Yeah, it's really irritating.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is when you throw it in the sink.
Yeah, that's even worse.
That's
isn't
what
it?
he's just done.
That's what he's just done.
Yeah, just seen him.
Terrible.
I see what you're getting at.
I thought you got away with that there, didn't you?
Right, so back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. What do you reckon so far, then, mate?
It's intricate.
Can you see where it's coming from?
I don't know where I don't know where the idea is coming from, but I can see what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can we put some Yorkshire puddings with this? Because Sunday lunch might be due in a minute.
I tell you, one of your Yorkshire, I will give you credit, and I do give you a lot of credit. Your Yorkshire puddings are second to none.
Yeah.
And it is a recipe that if I'm doing a Yorkshire pudding, I will do exactly what you do. You all right?
Yeah, that's good.
So that's nice credit
thanks
for you,
the
isn't
compliment. Just move your ass. Come on,
Sorry.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, when you come to serve this,
Yeah.
take one of these beautiful things
Yeah.
carefully out of here,
Yeah.
OK?
Now, normally what you do is you cut this into 8, and that would serve 16 people. No.
Oh, look at it. It's beautiful.
Come on, just put half of it on the plate.
Shut up! Will ya?
Why don't you just cut it in half and put it there?
Because there's a method in my madness. All right?
Veg.
Yeah.
Nice asparagus.
Beautiful. Carrots look good as well.
Carrots look really good. Yeah. Improve it, don't you think?
You're making me laugh. I can't concentrate. I can't even remember what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Don't forget the rust potatoes. What's boiling in the background? What's over there boiling away?
Well, that's my border lace.
Okay. Peas.
Beautiful. This is making me smile, James.
Is it? Yeah.
Something's going right. Beautiful sauce. You've got to be careful when you add the marrow fat that you don't let it go and so it just completely melts through it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 2. You can hear how crispy they are. I hope you can see this on camera, but these are beautifully crisp potatoes.
Yeah.
Maybe a touch of sea salt. And if you want the ultimate indulgence, which isn't for everybody, it's a bit of black truffle. Do you want the ultimate indulgence?
Why not? You've taken an hour to make it, so why not give it a bit more? So give us the name of this dish.
So it's a good roast potato, beef cheek, summer vegetables, bordelaise sauce, truffle.
Go on, Blackiston, everybody!
Here you go. Here's your plate of potatoes.
Thank you very much.
I do just want to tell you...
The greatest potato the world has ever seen, apparently.
You don't have to do what I did and scoop it all out, but you could just do a good roast. But that's a good roast, essentially.
Very nice, Chief.
Good.
It's also very nice, the truffle. It's a lot of work. It's worth it in the end.
Yeah.
But you can relax, have a drink.
Yeah. Cheers.
Go on, Blackiston, everybody! Right, your turn to cook next. Yeah, he's going to be watching as well. I'll be dishing up a masterclass in potatoes myself a little later on in the show. But after the break, cricketing star David Gower will be here, and I've got a haddock rarebit on the menu. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, there's a second helping of Matt Goss coming up a little bit later, and Chef Mark Birchall will be making a welcome return to the kitchen very shortly. But first, I'm here with a cricketing legend who went on from becoming one of England's greatest ever batsmen to becoming one of the best commentators in the sport. It's the brilliant David Gower! Yay! Great to have you. Galton's a massive fan as well. And,
I am.
And fellow cricketer?
Well, yeah, I played a
We
bit
both of us wanted to be cricketers, didn't we, really?
Yeah.
From different parts of the world. But food-wise, I thought there's lots of different dishes that I was going to cook with you. You travelled all over the world. I thought I'd do a dish that's... Well, the minute we talked about cricket, I thought, I'm going to do a dish from Mr. Gary Rhodes, the late, great Gary Rhodes, who was a crazy supporter of cricket. And this is one of his famous dishes. This is a smoked haddock, Welsh rarebit. You must remember this.
Absolutely.
With tomatoes. I'm going to try and do it justice, but it is absolutely amazing. It's smoked haddock's absolutely delicious. So, first of all, Mr. David Gower, where do we start with your career? I mean, what a career.
Well, thank you. Where do we start? Where do we finish? It all starts with parents, with back garden cricket, garden football. It's all the sports.
You were very, very sporty as a young kid, though.
Enough. I mean, at school I played the cricket, I played the rugby, played the football, hockey at King's as well, King's Canterbury.
Yeah.
I had to learn to hold the that sticky thing the other way around.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But that worked. So yeah, and I've been very lucky to enjoy sort of the fruits of those sports all the way through life.
But when was the cricket thing? When did that really happen? Do you get spotted for that? Is there spotters?
Yes, you do. At school, we used to play half a dozen other schools and, say, 10 clubs.
Right.
So you're playing against the men for those 3 or 4 seasons, and that brings your game forward.
Yeah.
So you play against guys like MCC. They send a man down who was the captain would arrive by a light aircraft and sort of plonk it down on the outfield somewhere. You'd have various other Kent sides, Band of Brothers. We had the Stragglers of Asia, all sorts of people like that, loads of them. And you get a recommendation from one of those, goes back to, in my case, back to Leicestershire, where I was living.
Yeah.
So they got the first call. Kent, actually, although I was under their noses, were incredibly strong in the 70s, mid-70s. And you had this thing, you had to register. So the official letter went from Leicester to Kent saying, do you want this man? They said, never heard of him. You can have him. So I stayed at Leicester for the next 14, 15 years, which actually worked out rather well. So I was pretty happy with that, before, of course, coming down to Hampshire.
So I'm just going to recap what we've got in here. We've got our smoked haddock, which is just poaching away in this beautiful milk that we've got in here. This is natural smoked haddock. It's absolutely delicious. We just poach this gently in the milk, turn that over, and then I'm just going to leave that to sit there. So that's just going to sit there to continue cooking. This over here is our sort of... Well, I've taken some of our liquor, some of our milk out of here, popped it in the pan with some cheese, and then this is where we're going to gradually sort of melt this, and you can put some aromats in here. We've got some mustard, a little bit of Henderson relish, and then a little bit of Tabasco.
Gary Rhodes put Henderson relish in?
No, he puts the other one. The other one.
The other one.
But I'm from the north, so we put this in.
Yeah, I like that
There's a limit, Galton.
like that idea.
You're now about to reach it. This is it. We've got a little bit. It's a variant of the recipe.
I like that idea. Have you tried Henderson's?
I've never come across it. I mean,
Haven't you?
The fact that
You
it says
see?
strong and...
That's what I mean, you see. If
strong and northern. Gives you a clue, doesn't it?
Played for Yorkshire, it'd been all right with this. That's what it is. But what was defining moment of your career? Because you've had so many. With so many highlights in your career. We're going to talk about what you've done after that as well. But, the Ashes, they say, for one, must be some amazing defining moments for you. Because that was an iconic time. The characters were huge. We just lost
Shane, of course, has gone, sadly,
But the characters on your era...
If you go back just a few years before that, to the 80s, in this country were people like Botham, Lamb, both great friends of mine.
Yeah.
And it was an era of, shall we say, a little uncertainty. So we had our ups and downs through the 80s.
Well, you're good 1 minute, not so good the next minute.
Well, I'm going to say, it seemed
Yes,
to...
weren't you famous for an aeroplane?
That was that as well. That was technically...
We're going to get onto that. You're jumping the gun a bit.
That was technically the 90s. Anyway, we'll come to...
OK.
But mid-80s, my sort of high point was 85, sort of vaguely being captain, winning the Ashes.
Yeah.
And just to have the photographs, holding that thing aloft, just to look in Wisden and say, right, that was my year. That is actually worth treasuring.
It's magical. So I'm just going to because we're at the point in this, it's not far off ready. So you heat up this cheese that's gone in here. So this is the cheese, the aromats they've got in there. And then what you need to do is thicken this up. So you thicken it up with a little bit of flour. Because obviously if you put the cheese directly on top of the fish, it's just going to fall off. So you add the flour to it. Well, it's just going to and they add the flour and it produces this sort of thickened sauce. As it continues to cook, it starts to get thicker and thicker and thicker. And you can see as the flour starts to thicken everything up, it starts to get thicker. And then what you do with this, once you got to this stage, then you season it. Then I'm going to put in a couple of egg yolks and then set it on a tray. And that's that one. I'll continue to mix that as well, like that as we go. But, of course, nowadays, commentating, you're still as equal success of doing what you were doing on the cricket pitch. But now looking down on it, which is quite an interesting job.
It's less emotional.
Well, you say that because you say that because it's you know, it isn't because you know the stuff that again because you're from that era.
Yeah.
You're not frightened of saying what.
That's all right, but that comes with sort of settling into the role. I think actually for the first maybe couple of years, you're still talking about friends, so you're still maybe holding back a little bit. Then you realise that actually that's not the job. You know, that doesn't cut it because there are people out there watching who know all about the game.
Yeah.
And if you're lying to them, they can spot it as much as anyone else lying to them in public. So you have to go with your thoughts, go with your opinions, and try and make them interesting. It's that great thing that the great man himself, Richie Benner, said. You're trying to add something to a picture, whether it's playing with words or a bit of insight, a bit of expertise.
But in terms of cricket, that picture's changing all the time now because hugely. You know, we were saying about you go through highs and lows of cricket in terms of the tests and everything else, but the highs and lows of your sport, you've got, dare I say, some people may think cricket's a little bit too laid back. It takes too long.
And what's wrong with it?
Well, nothing's wrong with it. But do you know what I mean? But the purists would say, well, what's wrong with it? But what's happened is now, and I'm just going to take this to change the subject because I can see that. but do you know what I mean? I was thinking, how am I going to ask this? But do you know the T20, the 100? You know, it has put cricket on the spotlights. It's given people a different way of enjoying what is an amazing sport.
And things like T20 have added a lot of colour, a lot of razzmatazz, music. It has become specifically entertainment with a bit of cricket thrown in a sense. So there is this balance that we need to find between the purists and Test cricket and all the things that you get from the longer form against what you need from the shorter form, which is 3 hours entertainment, the ability to bring families in, safely, that's the other thing, safely. I mean, T20, the Blast, for instance, on a Friday night in London became an excuse for an awful lot of beer to be sold, while maybe there was a cricket match in the background. So there is that sort of balance to be had.
Yeah. Do you think we can get to that balance? Because that's a tricky one, isn't it? Really?
The tricky thing is there aren't enough days in the year to get everything done. And we're having this debate this summer especially because England's Test team has struggled of recently. And one of the reasons for that is they haven't been given the same, should we say, attention as the white ball cricketers. So we built up the white ball game so that we won the World Cup, which was extraordinary. It took us something like 40 years to do that.
I mean, that was
and
magical,
we did it by about that much in the end. It was a brilliant day.
It was a magical,
absolutely brilliant day.
Would you like to have played the chance to have played 2020 and?
As a younger man, yes. Yeah. We had, the shortest game we played was 40 overs, Sunday League. And you had some of the same sort of tricks, trying to create space to, find a boundary, score runs quickly. But some of the things they do nowadays are just unbelievable. I'm not sure I'd quite fancy trying those, but yes, it would have been interesting to have a go. Yeah. For sure.
But you seem as confident on the cricket pitch as you are with a microphone. I speak to, you look at sportsmen, I think cricket and rugby, for instance. I know you follow rugby very well. But both of those, we had James Haskell on a couple of weeks back. But you managed to be both great communicators.
We always used to get told that the ethos should be, a group of mates, not exactly in the pub because we don't drink on air, but in the pub discussing the game in that sort of relaxed fashion. Yeah. And using your experience to get that knowledge across.
When you're listening to commentating at cricket, it does feel like that. And you managed to get that across. So we've just got our tomatoes. Yeah. These tomatoes have been skinned. I've taken these off, blanched for about 10 seconds, peeled, thinly sliced, and then this is our rare bit that goes, once you've made it, it goes underneath the grill. Like that. So this is great one. Straight out from underneath the grill. And you've got this amazing rare bit. And then all you do with this one is you take a little bit of oil. And this is just a little dressing. We're nearly finished this, really. Really good quality olive oil, like that. And plenty of it, because this is the dressing. A little bit of black pepper. Kind of hope I'm doing this justice, but I love this dish, really. But, yeah, I mean, you know this as well.
I do. This used to be my go-to dish.
Yeah.
Years ago.
It's iconic,
it is delicious.
It's absolutely iconic. We take some fresh chives over the top. So what's next for you then? What does 2022 hold for you then?
It's a very good question. Watching a little bit of cricket here and there.
Yeah.
But as a, what's the technical term now? Freelance.
Yeah.
I have to wait for phone calls or emails to say, what's coming up next. I mean, I had a really good winter in as much as I managed to get to Pakistan, to Australia, to the West Indies, all in the space of 4 months.
Not bad that though, is it really?
But now, but having had that absolute luxury and joy, suddenly it goes quiet. So, it's mowing the lawn and coming to watch people cook haddock and stuff like that. So it is slightly different. I mean, it's nice in a way, but it is slightly different in as much as you don't have the security of, say, a contract. Yeah. But you have, just the luxury of being able to have a bit of time.
Well, communicators, like I said, will always have a great job. So long may it continue. But thank you so much for coming along. But look, we've just got a nice little bit of fish over here. And then we're just going to take where's my little spatula? Here, there we go. And we can take our fish. And the idea is you lift this off. You put that on top of there.
He does proper portions, doesn't he? I mean, look at it.
There's still a lot of fish left for the others.
That's for you to take home. See? That's it.
And practice.
We'll put it in a bag for you to take home. But there you have it. Yeah. A little homage to another cricketing fan, the late, great Gary Rhodes. And it's been a pleasure having you here. There we go.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Well done.
Bon appetit, gentlemen. There you go. So the hot oil really sort of softens the tomatoes. That's the idea of it. So you can eat the entire.
Right. Okay.
With the cheese, it's just I get the bit that's left on the tray really, but the idea of that is if you pour it onto a tray. And this is the best thing about this recipe as well. Once it's poured on a tray, whether you have it with smoked haddock, whether you have it on toast, whether you have it with a little bit of chutney, then on toast. Whether you have it on top of steak, whatever you want, you put it in the fridge, and you can then peel it off like that, and you just get this amazing bit. Don't put too much flour in it; it was rock solid, but it's a fantastic dish. Is that?
Where do you get your fish from?
This has come from a fishmonger down in Cornwall.
Oh right.
Yeah. This is. Why, do you want him to stop past on the way past your house every day?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I wondered why you were asking. Mr. David Gower, everybody. Hey. And Mr. Galton Blackiston, exactly, fellow cricketer. Right, still to come, I'll be treating Matt Goss to a second course of chicken tagliatelle, and Mark Birchall will be cooking behind these stoves and doing a dish of hake in a little bit time. But join me after the break, and when we've got masterclass in potatoes that you don't want to miss. I'll see you in a bit.
Beautiful.
Welcome back. Now I'll be laying on lunch of chicken tagliatelle and wild mushrooms for Matt Goss shortly, and we've got some incredible cooking on the way from Chef Mark Birchall. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass. And this week's masterclass, I thought I'd show you some brilliant recipes with potatoes, bacon potatoes, first of all. So, first of all, before I do anything, I'm going to get on some bacon for this, because I'm going to do loaded potato skins, because we're not going to waste anything from this. So we've just got some little bit of pancetta over there. I'm just going to start it cooking with just a touch of vegetable oil. You don't need to use any fancy olive oil, just a little bit of vegetable oil. Start that sort of crisping up in the pan. Now, onto our bacon potatoes over here. There are tons in the supermarkets, let's be honest with you. Tons of varieties. Which ones should you go for? Well, Maribel is the ones that I would say you need to look out for. I find those the best bacon potatoes. The thing about Maribels is they're beautiful and crisp on the outside, lovely and soft in the centre, and particularly the centre, because for this recipe, it's not just bacon potatoes that we're going to do. We're going to then use the filling to create lots of different things from it as well, because the filling is, you want something that's light, fluffy, but also quite creamy in the centre, and you get that with Maribel potatoes, and these are the ones. So what you want to do with these, first of all, is you just need to prick them with a fork. The great thing about Maribels is you don't need to put them in salt, you don't need to put them in oil, you don't need to do any of that. Set the oven about sort of 200 degrees. About 400 Fahrenheit, and then these are going to basically just simply cook and bake. Nothing on them, as they are. Like I said, you usually put salt on it in bits and pieces. You don't need to do it with these. As they are, like that, for about an hour and 15 minutes, they're going to take, something like that. They just go straight in the oven. Now, we're going to allow these to cool down slightly, and then I've emptied some out, and you'll see the colour from this you get this amazing yellow potatoes. The last time I seen colour like this was in America. They had this thing called Yukon potatoes, which is this sort of colour, is a beautiful yellow colour. And from that, you can then do so many different sort of things from it. But first of all, we're going to talk about the skins. So I'm going to keep the skins because we don't want to waste any, because the skins from this are amazing as well. So while the bacon's cooking, I'll put that over there. That's going to go over there. And then I'm going to get on and make our nice little cheese sauce, because I'm going to do these loaded skins. So for that, we need to then make our nice little bit of bechamel. Very, very simple to make. Just a little bit of melted butter. You can do this quite quickly. Classic bechamel would be you then heat up the milk with what you call an onion cloute, which is bay leaf and a little bit of clove with some onion. A classic onion cloute. But we're going to do something really quite simple and quite quick. It's perfect for this sort of stuff. So this is going to melt nicely. Then we're going to add our flour to this, just a tablespoon of flour. The thing about bechamel is try not to make it too thick. That's the problem, particularly when you're doing a cheese sauce. I think my nana found that when I used to go around to her house. This cheese sauce, you used to be able to slice it. But this, you're just going to gradually add the milk like this. And using a whisk, it won't go lumpy. Now, all the while our bacon's crisping up. Try and get the dry cured bacon, really, with the, whatever you buy, really, the dry cure as opposed to the wet cure. The wet cure, you're just paying for water. Really, the dry cure is much better. It crisps up better in a pan. You can see that frying better in the pan, whereas I suppose it foams up in a pan, that sort of wet cured stuff. So once you get to that stage, we can enrich it with a bit of cream. A little bit of cheddar cheese. That's going to go in there as well. Save some for our top. And just give this a quick mix. So this all starts to come together into a nice, simple little cheese sauce. Now, as the cheese goes in, it'll get thicker. Have a little bit of milk in reserve. Something like that. Just mix that together. Just to hold back, and then we can add to it to bring it back to the consistency how we want it. It coats our potatoes nicely. There we go. So once we get to that stage, we'll move that to one side. Turn that off. Switch that one on. We've got our bacon cooking away nicely. Bit of sweet corn. I love sweet corn, particularly this time of year. Straight off the cobs like this, it's brilliant. And with sweet corn, it takes seconds to cook, really. If you can take it off the cob like this. So that's just going to go straight into our pan. Like I said, seconds to cook. In here, I'm going to add a little bit of chilli, purely optional. I'm going to put this on the top. I'm going to put some coriander on it, that kind of stuff. The great thing about this, you can put whatever you want on it. The skins itself, do is just fill these all in. Pile it all in. You don't need to individually fill them. That's the great thing with that. These fry brilliantly as well, by the way. You can do this similar sort of thing and chuck them in the fryer if you wanted to, but you can take your nice little bit of sweet corn, salt and pepper. Go easy with the salt because of the bacon. Pour this over the top. It's a perfect dish for our last show. The summer, this. It's food that I'm going to be living on in the summer. Look, take your nice little bit of cheese sauce. Don't forget to season this. You can flavour it with mustard if you want. A little bit of Dijon would really work well with this. We take our nice little sauce. You see the texture of that. Very, very quick to do this. Loaded skins. Not waste anything. Chilli. A little bit of coriander over the top. And cheese. Load it over the top. Then stick it under the grill. This is going to go on the grill for about 3 to 4 minutes. We'll keep your eye on that. Now, while that's under the grill, classic sort of potatoes, really. Potato mash, Pompeo as we call it. There's 2 variants of it, and I say we'll get onto the variants in a minute, but if you're doing this in a restaurant, you can do 2 variants of this. Potato puree, which is this, or pomme mousseline. Mousseline is actually done with whipped cream added to potatoes like this, either boiled or are baked like that. Now, the thing about when you're making mashed potatoes, you want the potatoes quite dry. So the type of potatoes is very, very important, but the way you cook them. So if you're going to steam them or if you're going to boil them, make sure they're dry before you put them through a potato ricer. This is the gadget that you need to make really good mashed potatoes. Simple little potato ricers. You can buy these online. It's honestly, it saves you so much work. And also by making it by hand, you don't wax the potatoes. You're not overworking them. So once we get to that stage, we're then going to add a little bit of butter. It has to be butter in mashed potatoes. So this is classic pom puree. Would be butter and either milk or cream. Usually, to be honest with you, milk. But it's my house, so we add double cream. So, and gradually you add the double cream a little bit at a time. Do this on a gentle heat. Now, you see a lot of chefs using these sort of spatulas. This is called a little Maurice. And it's a particular shape, and you can see the shape of this one as opposed to a normal conventional flat spatula. A lot of chefs will like to use these because you get this amazing shape from it. When you know you've got your mashed potato right, produces this amazing sort of shape. Now, when we season this, a bit of salt. Rather than black pepper, we use white pepper for this. A little bit of white pepper in there. Mix this together. But you can see as you're mixing it now, you can then start incorporating more and more liquid if you want. To get to the texture is what you want. So you keep a little bit of cream, a little bit of milk, like that. Now you can flavour this with whatever you want as well once you get to this stage. But that is your classic pom puree. Very similar to pom mousseline, which would be just whipped cream added to this as well. So it's a little bit lighter. So once we get to that stage, we can then take our mash, like that. And you can see you've got your classic, look at that, beautiful, creamy mashed potato. All to do with the quality of the potatoes that you're doing. Absolutely delicious. Now, having said that, there are other things you can do as well with this. We can create pom Duchess potatoes. And I haven't done these for a long time, really. But these, I haven't served them a long time in a restaurant, but these are real classic. It's a real classic dish. So you start off with bacon potatoes. It's a great thing to do this in the summer. Just try it. I call this old school. Then, when we mix this together, rather than just add any cream or liquid to this, we add egg yolks. So we want a couple of egg yolks. Now, what this does is enrich it. It's a great way. This is, if you're doing something like a fish pie, something like that, do it with this. So often with fish pie, if you make mashed potato and use that, it can souffle up. But the great thing about doing this with egg yolks, you get this amazing colour from it. Look at this. And then what you can do is then pipe this. So you want a piping bag. You want sort of a large-ish nozzle, that is. Get yourself a piping bag. And then we're going to pipe this. So, in there. Like I said, this is kind of old school, but it's fantastic when you're looking at old potato dishes. And I mean, I collect old cookbooks anyway. I'm going to get onto the essential one in a minute, where these ideas come from. But you take this, and you can pipe it up like that. So fill up your piping bag. And then what you can do is get yourself a tray, move that to one side, and then pipe this. It's a classic Duchess. Now, there's different ways you can do this. You can either do normal ones like this, where you can actually pipe it like that. Or you can do these where you can pipe them circular like that, fill the middle, around and around and around, and you're creating a little nest like that. So it's a real classic dish, this. But if you find yourself a little bit of time in the summer, have a go at doing this. It's just a little bit of nutmeg, just a touch of salt and pepper, and you can make these. Now, the great thing about these, if you're doing a dinner party, stuff like that, you can make these on a Saturday for Sunday, put them in the fridge, and then reheat them, cook them from the fridge in the oven. They're going to take about 15 to 20 minutes to cook. Now, you can fill these if you want, classically, or you can leave them as they are. But I've got, look at this. Look at this. Look at that! Loaded potato skins. So you don't waste any of this. So you've got the loaded potato skins. We've got a classic mashed potato. And then, of course, you've got your Duchess. Now, like I said, there's so many different cookbooks out there telling you so many different things. So many people out there telling you so many different things. One of which was on Twitter the other month, who criticised me for getting my potato dish wrong. This dish, this book, from 1982, was a book that I got when I was at catering college. Look, 17th edition. In here, it's got the definitive guide to every single potato dish you ever need to know. Every single garnish you'll ever need to know. Every single dish you'll ever need to know. Look at this, and not Twitter. And there we have it. Beautiful little dishes, like that. You've got your classic pomme duchesse that you can turn into marquise. You can press it all down. Marquise would be a little galette as well. You can press it down like that. You've got your nice little bit of mashed potato, and you've got loaded potato skins. You waste nothing, all out of the humble baked potato. Enjoy that. Right, we've still got plenty more to come from my guest, Matt Goss, but join me after the break when it's Mark Birchall's turn to get cooking. I'll see you in a bit. Potatoes, potatoes, potatoes. Welcome back. Now, we're serving up one more final course for my guest, Matt Goss, very shortly. But first, I'm here in the kitchen with, in fact, two chefs, but I'm here in the kitchen with one of them, the Michelin inspectors, and pretty much every food critic in the country think produces some of the best food in Britain right now. It's the brilliant Mark Birchall! You're not bad yourself, Galton, but...
I'm not in that league.
Yeah, but anyway, Mark, the table is yours, the stage is yours, the cooker's yours. This is going to be pretty special. It smells amazing already. What are we going to be doing?
So we're going to cook some hake from Newlyn down in Cornwall. I'm going to serve with some Dorset crab. I'm going to make a take on a sauce, which is from like Spanish souquette sort of style. And bit of asparagus and ham and stuff.
I know you want to get the hake on first of all, so I know you're going to get that pan frying.
So I've taken the loin from the hake, so this nice thick part here.
Okay.
And I've brined it in a 10% salt to water solution.
Yeah.
For about 3 minutes, and that just firms the
fish. Just for 3 minutes?
Yeah, just 3 minutes. Firms the fish up, really makes it a little bit, more juicy. So I've got the loin. I'm just going to portion that up into...
So while you're portioning it up, this is the hake, which is, I mean, it's amazing fish, isn't it, really?
It looks
and accused is sustainable, this?
Yeah, massively. Great alternative to cod, which isn't massively sustainable.
Yeah.
And it's delicious.
Do you brine a lot of your fish?
Most of it. Yeah. Most of the fish. Yeah, pretty much all of it. I try and cook as much on the bone, like the turbot, monkfish, just that extra flavour. Right. So I'm just going to get that nicely coloured up.
Yeah. Right, so you've pan-fried the fish. This is a great way to... And now, the last person who came on this as well cooked something similar to this. Was Kenny Atkinson, cooked in a little bit of nut butter. So this is a great way to cook the fish then, so...
Yeah, so we get a nice bit of colour on there.
Yeah.
We're just going to drop it straight into the butter.
So you know now it's going to be good, don't you? When it's cooked in butter like this.
Yeah. Loads of butter.
So this is just nut brown. Have you had lemon to this or nothing?
Nothing, just burn rosette.
And then that goes in a very... So you put this in quite a low oven?
Yeah, if you can get it to around 50 degrees, it should take about 10 minutes. Right. This is dead easy. It's great for a dinner party. The biggest challenge is getting it in the oven without swilling the butter everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's basically, it's confit fish, in essence.
Sounds pretty good. Sits in there.
But it's absolutely amazing for hake. Absolutely amazing.
Now, this is the bit that I've been wanting to learn. This sauce, then. This is pretty special, don't it?
Yeah, so it's a take on a Spanish souquette.
Yeah.
So fish stew, basically.
Yeah.
So I make, in essence, a stew with red mullet.
Yeah.
Lots of aromats, fennel, chilli, little bits and bats.
Yeah.
Celery, so like mirepoix, and we just cook that for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Did you roast the mullet?
Yeah, lightly roasted it, so it's nice and brown.
I like it.
But I'm saying, because in chef's world, this is quite a famous technique. This is because when you won the Roux Scholarship, which was what, 10 years ago now?
2011.
over 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
One of the places where you got the opportunity, and I was judging at that as well. You get the opportunity to work in any 3-star Michelin you want in the world?
Yeah. So I worked at El Cellar de Can Roca.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. 3 brothers, there all the time.
Yeah.
Fairly new 3-star at the time as well. And it was just great. Great atmosphere. So hence the Souquet sort of...
this is one of the iconic
Yeah,
things,
so there's a touch of nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
So I've got a little bit of fennel in some butter, which is in a hot pan.
Yeah.
A little bit of fennel there, just... So we're basically refreshing the stock. Okay. That's had 2 hours.
Yeah.
And you end up with a stock like this.
Okay.
I'm going to fry some fennel. I'm going to put a little bit of star anise in there.
Now, tell everybody about Moor Hall then, because, you know, it started out life as a house.
Yeah, it was like a gentry old manor house.
Yeah.
16th century, walled garden, big barn to the side. And, yeah, it was converted into a restaurant. 5 years. Yeah. 5 years. 2017, we opened Moor Hall, the restaurant. We won 2 stars, which is amazing. Then we opened the barn October 17, which was a different challenge. Neighbourhood restaurant, you know, like, got a great team in there. Yeah. And they got a star this year, which is amazing as well.
What you got in there? What's going on?
A little bit of brandy and a little bit of Noilly Prat.
Okay.
So we'll juice that down to nothing.
So you got 2 stars at Moor Hall. Your other sort of the casual dining, but it's not really casual. It is casual dining.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, both restaurants are casual. You know, I hate the word fine dining, whatever, bistro, whatever. Yeah. It's just good food in a relaxed surrounding, and yeah, he got a star, and it was a great reward for the team in there. Yeah, really, really great.
So what's going in there now?
So we've got some tomato juice just on top of that. As soon as the alcohol's kind of 90% dry in there, add some tomato juice.
Go on, I'll let you have that.
In there.
Yeah.
Bring that up. And a little bit of this fresh fennel. A little pinch of tarragon. Yeah. We've got...
And this is the stock from that?
That's the stock. See how lovely and golden it is. So this is like a refresh for the stock owners.
Right.
Some of that stock in there. I'm going to add a little bit of chilli to it as well.
I can see you've got your eye on this recipe, Gowan.
Yeah, because I'm interested. You never stop learning, do we?
I just love the way that you can put the fish in there and forget about it for 10 minutes. That's one of the great things, isn't it?
A little bit of chilli.
But the temperature's vital for that, isn't it, really? That's the key to it.
So that's just a little bit of an infusion now. So you'll leave that for 3 or 4 minutes just to let the chilli come through and all the herbs. Right. Then we'll strain it off.
Yeah. Smells pretty good, though, doesn't it?
You just know it's going to be good.
So we're going to serve it with some asparagus. Just a little Formby asparagus, quite local to us.
So this has just been blanched, yeah?
Yeah, it's been blanched in some water, seasoned water. I'm just going to grill on here, just give it a nice charred flavour. I've got some celeriac puree as well. Right. In this little pan.
How do you do yours, then?
So I dice the celeriac.
Yeah.
Probably like centimetre cubes. A little bit of butter in the pan. Right. Touch of water, cling film it. Bring it up. Cook it till all the water's gone. Yeah. Put some cream in there, reduce that down so it's almost splitting, then blend it. A little bit of salt.
Yeah.
You put a touch of lemon juice in if you like. But,
sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's just give a nice creaminess on the dish. Check that fish.
So 10 minutes in there. Yeah.
Yeah, so 10 minutes in the oven. Fish looks absolutely bang on. Asparagus is on. I've got some celeriac puree warming up nicely. Yeah. Sauce is here.
Ready when you are, Chief.
Cool.
Look at these plates as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're lovely. Handmade plates. Nice.
Where are these made?
Just round the corner, just near Morsley. Little farm just up there. Yeah, they're fantastic.
That's pretty good.
Bespoke to us. So I've got the asparagus on it. Take that off now. A little bit more colour might be nice, but, you know, these must. So we've got some sclerotic puree. Nice little dollop of that in the middle.
Is this a dish that you do at the restaurant?
This is a dish which will be on the barn restaurant.
Yeah.
Maybe a side of Jersey Royals this time of year.
Yeah.
It's really simple.
Really simple. Really simple, he says. Really simple.
So just gonna pop that there. Just lift that fish out of there.
You must have cooked like this, though.
Yeah,
And nut
lots
butter.
of
Yeah,
things.
we do it a lot.
Yeah.
It's a great way to cook a piece of fish.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Really, really
we use,
good.
chalk stream trout from around here.
Right.
do that.
Really, really
It's
good.
lush.
So this is a crab.
Yeah, the brown crab. Just gonna top that on top of the fish. So you've got a nice contrast between the hake,
Yeah.
nice spicy brown and white crab meat. I've got some of my cured pork here. So I'm just gonna try and get off the board. Just pop that over the top.
Love it.
It's just hanging over there, like that.
It does beg the question, if this is on at the barn, what on earth is on that?
What's on at the multi-Michelin star restaurant? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
Got some of the asparagus just straight on
Oh,
top.
my goodness.
Just get it to sit nicely there. Just pop that out of the way.
We're talking about sauces anyway throughout the day, but this is pretty special.
It's a lovely. It's a light dish, but it's got a real nice heartiness at the same time, with the richness of the depth of flavour, should I say, with the sauce and the nice fat on the pork.
And you got some little.
A few little cresses, nasturtium, fennel, sorrel. I'm just gonna chuck that on the top there, just like that.
So, Mark, give us the name of this dish.
So this is Newlyn hake with cured pork, asparagus, and a Souquette sauce.
Stunning.
Mark Birchall, everybody. Brilliant. Brilliant. Right, looking forward to this. Plate each.
Yes.
There we go.
Plate
One
each.
each.
Gee, for the
Enjoy.
Look at that.
Wow.
Right.
I need a spoon.
Look at the fish, just falls apart. Look at the fish.
You're so right. That hake works so well.
It's amazing. It's an amazing fish.
That sauce is pretty special, isn't it? It's just an amazing plate of food.
Look at it.
Mark Birchall, everybody. All right, time now for a quick break. We'll see me again in a couple of minutes. I want to be back in the kitchen with the amazing Matt Goss. I'll see you in a bit. It's good, this, isn't it? See?
Sauces.
Welcome back. Now I'm back in the kitchen to the last part of the show with my brilliant guest, the one and only Matt Goss. You enjoyed that cod, demolished the cod earlier on.
Completely gone.
Exactly, completely gone. So now we're going to then do chicken with pasta, because I know you're a big pasta lover. So we're going to make our own tagliatelle, roast crown of chicken with some wild mushrooms, simple little sauce. I'm going to start this off because we've got a crown of chicken like that. So the crown of chicken is basically a whole chicken that's had the legs removed. So what I'm going to do is season this really, really well, first of all. So just some normal table salt right into the cavity. Make sure you season it really well with salt and pepper. Like that, all the way around. And then what we're going to do, the thing about a crown of chicken, it doesn't take very long to cook. So a little bit of oil in the pan, touch of butter. That's going to go in there. A little bit of butter. Start colouring that. And we're going to start to colour our crown of chicken. Now, it's important that you get to this stage where you colour it first of all. Now, we're going to serve this with wild mushrooms, nice little tagliatelle to go with it as well. That's going to go in there. So I'm just going to colour that nicely. And the wild mushrooms we've got in here, these are ones that you can get from the supermarket because it's quite difficult to get pure wild mushrooms like morels and chanterelles nowadays. So these are just the normal, these are classed as wild mushrooms, but they've been farmed. These ones over here. We've got nice little bit of shiitake, some enoki, all different ones that we've got over here. But it's so easy for you to prepare. The great thing about these, you can cut them into chunks and you treat them like cooking a piece of meat. But you're here, we're talking about your album as well. We mentioned it earlier. For those people who are just waking up, you just brought out a new album, so give us the name of the album, and you've written it in lockdown as well, which is...
Well, yeah, I wrote it. I mean, I fell out of love with music, I said before, but this is what really kind of brought me back to life and allowed me to come back here and travel the world. It's called The Beautiful Unknown.
Yeah.
And you don't often hear those two words side by side. The beautiful unknown, we've kind of been programmed to be a bit fearful and what we've all been through. I just wanted to create a record that was uplifting, very honest emotionally, with emotional intelligence, but also that hopefully lifted people's spirits. It's what I've been doing my whole life. And as you well know, there's nothing quite like that feeling when you transport an audience into a place where they feel good, and it's an amazing feeling. But I put everything I've learned in the last 3 decades into this record.
I mean, you've got an amazing... They'll take the chicken and pop this in the oven, like I said, 25 minutes, 200 degrees. You have got an amazing following that's followed you all the days from... as well as a new following, but you've got all the days from the Bros days as well. You've got very loyal fan base to you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be anything without my fans. I mean, the fans, and also even to, regional radio and the press, and they've, and internet radio, they've really, really got behind me, and they've stayed behind me. And I really would not be able to do what I do without that support from the fans and certain parts of the industry.
Why is that? Do you think it's that you keep your style of music, the stuff that you're writing, the stuff that you've written in the past, the stuff from the 80s, that kind of stuff, you keep it relative to what people want? Because so many times I get the feeling musicians just going to do what I want and stick it out there, and they're just going to have to live with it. But you seem to write stuff that people want as well.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
Because that's from the 80s as well. Must learn a lot from that period of time.
Listening to The Weeknd, I was listening to it, in some ways I've contributed to that sound, in some ways I've contributed. But I think really what it comes down to is a sensibility, and also people that have been following me have also been out to Vegas. They've come out with their families and their partners, or multiple partners that I've seen over 11 years. And it's just, it's a sensibility and it's a journey, and it's called a career, We're still here and we're doing what we love to do.
You managed to, I mean, I've stuck by the same career all the time and I love what I do, but you managed to morph that into so many different things. You managed to do, we talked about the theatre that you've done as well, obviously music, acting as well. I know acting.
Getting into that, yeah.
But you're getting into that as well. Your brother, particularly.
Very, very well, yeah.
You're learning from your brother, or are you just thinking that I just want to get into it as well? Because you've done. Wasn't it Blade 2 you were in as well?
That was Luke.
Luke, yeah. It was in Blade 2 and bits and pieces. It's stuff like that. You want to get into that world?
Yeah, I'm going to be in a movie called Cobbler Killer Stranger. It's a psychological thriller. So we're in pre-production and casting now. I play a very sinister kind of character, and it's just something that gives me good butterflies. It's a challenge, and I'm looking forward to have that challenge. But my first love will always be music. There's something about getting on stage. I really have mastered, I think, and it has taken me a long time, and I mean that with humility, but I've mastered what I do on stage. I know exactly what I'm going to do to an audience. Yeah. Because, you do 120 shows a year for 11 years, plus the Bros stuff.
I've been trying to do that on a Saturday morning for 15 years, and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing. To be honest with you.
But you know that feeling. There's something, we're both grown men. It's good to have that feeling when you can actually say out loud that I really mastered I know what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do when I go on stage. I think it's that,
but it's also, I get the feeling that you enjoy doing what you're doing as much as I enjoy doing this. Yeah. Because you never, the minute you stop enjoying it, that's when you stop doing it. But I figure that both of us have sort of, you still, after all these years, you just think, I'm still enjoying this as much as I did since the very, very beginning.
I think I enjoy it more in some ways because I'm more corpus mentis and I understand how hard it is to do certain things, and the energy of my team around me and the energy that goes into every single event. The palladium, venues. There's a lot of moving parts. So I live in a constant state of wonderment. And I'm childlike, I'm like, I love it all. And everything is enough for me.
But look, this is your chicken. We've got chicken cooked on the bone. And the key to this, with it being cooked on the bone, it stays beautiful and moist. So roasted on the crown, which is amazing, like that. So you can cut this through, and you've got your beautiful roast chicken, which we can slice up like that. And then the sauce, I've been reducing it all down. So this is your roast chicken with your nice little bit of buttered tagliatelle, because I know you like the buttered tagliatelle. And then all we do, take our wonderful little wild mushrooms, like that. We can just put them over the top like that, over the top of the pasta with the sauce. And there you have it, my chicken with mushrooms and a beautiful buttered tagliatelle. Easy as that. Done. Done. That's it. There we go. Bon appetit.
Because I'm happy.
Dive into that one.
I'm happy.
I know you like your buttered pasta, so that's why I just thought I'd roll it in the butter and the herbs first, and then that's your beautiful buttered tagliatelle. Look. But.
I can be your assistant whenever you. I mean,
it's nice though, isn't it?
Incredible, but it also looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Looks beautiful.
And the thing is with these mushrooms, you see these in the supermarket. I urge you really with these, you just want to cook them a little bit longer than you would do normally, and you get so much more flavour out of them as well. But they're fantastic in a little sauce like that. Happy with that?
Thank you, mate.
Well, best luck with the album, best luck with the tour, and next time you're back again, pop in anytime you want. There you go. Done. Right, that's it. That's all we've got time for today. What a great show. Thank you to Alysia Vasey, Galton Blackiston, and Matt Birchall, David Gowan, of course, Matt Goss. Yay! Now, we've sadly taken a break during the summer. They're out of a job. But see you back here at Night TV in September. Well, I'll be doing this for the rest of my life, I've been told. We're going to be joined by more top chefs, other brilliant guests. Until then, take care, stay safe. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the summer. Put your feet up.